Shooter ready. Stand by.
All right, today we're looking at the Brownells BRN-180 upper. What this is an AR-compatible upper receiver group, which is based off of the AR-180/AR-18 platform. What that means is that it is a fully closed receiver group that doesn't require any buffer tubes inside the receiver extensions of an AR-15 lower. It is all self-contained in the upper. This is a piston-driven system, which also means it runs a little cleaner than the direct gas impingement of the AR-15. The most distinctive part of the AR-180 and the BRN-180 uppers is this charging handle. It's an offset with fully reciprocating charging handle, which means that it moves along with the bolt during the firing cycle. Now, on other platforms like the FN SCAR, this might cause some problems, as when they're on the charging handles on the left side, right-handed shooters might get their thumb caught a little bit on the charging handle as it reciprocates, but as this particular charging handle is on the bolt and over the ejection port, most shooters shouldn't have an issue with this. The firing behavior of the BRN-180 is noticeably different from the AR-15, given that we're working with a short-stroke gas piston system and a bolt carrier group that has a shorter length of travel than the AR-15's bolt carrier, which travels all the way through the stock. You're going to have a little bit sharper of an impulse. Now you can see here, with the straight line of the recoil going back in the shoulder, there is a little bit more force than you would normally see with an AR-15, but because of that line of movement in line with the rifle and the bore, there isn't much of a rotation causing muzzle rise. I would probably liken the BRN-180 to firing a AR-15 without any sort of specialized muzzle devices like the WarComp up front or a muzzle brake, but more like something with a standard A2 flash hider. For comparison, here's a 16-inch mid-length AR-15 direct impingement with a SureFire muzzle brake up front. As you can see, with the longer length of travel in the bolt carrier group and the fact that that whole recoil system goes into the stock into the buffer tubes, there's not any movement really at all, either in muzzle rise, and you can see with the impulse, it's actually a slow impulse that doesn't impart a lot of force onto the shooter's shoulder. Probably a more appropriate comparison to the BRN-180 would be another short-stroke piston system like the FN SCAR 16. Now, this has got a much heavier bolt carrier, so you can see during the firing cycle, it's imparting far more force than the BRN-180, and then it's offering a little bit more recoil and muzzle rise. The BRN-180 comes with two piston cups to operate the gas system inside the rifle. The first one is for unsuppressed use, and the second one, which fits in a Magpul M-LOK grip core, is designed for suppressed use, as you can see by the extra vents on the piston cup, which help alleviate some of the extra back pressure caused by suppressors. So as you can see here, the BRN-180 with the suppressed piston cup in here doesn't seem to generate enough back pressure or operating system pressure to fully cycle the rounds. I am using a SureFire SOCOM RC2, which is known to be one of the lower back pressure generating suppressors on the market. So I'm going to switch this over to the standard piston cup, and then we'll take a look at it from there. So with the non-suppressed piston cup on the BRN-180, you can see it functions absolutely fine. Interestingly enough, because of the forward hand stop that I have here, what happens is that my hand is actually right next to the piston cup and the gas vents there, so you can actually feel a lot of the gas coming out. I did not feel that with the suppressed piston cup when I was shooting it and it was single shotting. So just things for you to note as you're working with this. If you're working with that more aggressive stance where your hand is far out on the rail, you are going to get a little bit of gas on your hands. So starting out with the 180 this morning, we were having a little bit of trouble. I did not oil it this morning as we started to fire. I wanted to see what it would look like dry, as we know that piston uppers tend to be a little bit cleaner in their operation, and so they can kind of deal with a little bit more headache. This did actually have some issues. It would not cycle fully. Even with the unsuppressed piston cup, it was single shotting until I lubricated it quite heavily. Throughout the day, we had fairly reliable function, but there were instances in which we were getting some short strokes. I think this is really going to be part of the wear and tear. As this upper starts to wear in, we'll probably see less of it, but right now my current solution is to just keep this thing very lubed and very clean. The nice thing about the BRN-180 is, again, it does have those switchable gas piston systems. I was not able to get the gas piston for the suppressed version to fire with a suppressor on it, and I did have to use the unsuppressed piston cup. Now, the BRN-180S, the short-barreled iteration of the BRN uppers, does have an adjustable gas block, so that should give some of you suppressed shooters a little bit more freedom in managing recoil and your gas operating system pressure.